Hi everyone, it's Lobster Shorts, and I'm going to be trying to make a dress this week out of this pattern. This is from Fabricland. It was one of their sale patterns, and I'm making the no sleeve style. I already cut this out. I cut this out a while ago, and I can't remember which side I'm going to use. So this is the fabric, but again, I don't remember if I'm using, see if I can show you this side or this side. I don't know. They're a little bit different and I just don't know which one I'm going to use. So we'll figure that out. I have all the pieces cut out already, so I am just going to try to sew this all together. It says it's very easy. We'll see if that's true. Okay, so one of the first things I need to do is mark the lines onto the fabric. So I have to get all these darts put on. For this piece, I've already snipped the little, these lines, I don't really know what you call them. It's where you notch, like where you not match the fabric pieces together. So that's how you know where they're supposed to sit. So this is probably the part I enjoy least. My favorite part is actually getting to sew, and also cutting out the pieces is pretty fun for me too. But yeah, I'm just gonna mark these dart lines and get ready to be able to sew it. Okay, so I have the bodice front pinned. All those darts are pinned, and now I just have to sew them. Okay, so like the front, I have sewn the dart for the back bodice piece. And that step's done. Okay, so I have the front and back shoulder pieces pinned together, and I am just getting ready to sew them together now. So the next step, it wants me to stay stitch like all along the neckline. So I am doing that. I believe the purpose of this is just to give more stability so it doesn't stretch out of shape. So again, I am just stitching along here. Okay, so the next step is to iron interfacing to the collar and then stitch the collar, the two pieces of the collar together. I did sew the collar pieces together, but I did not attach any interfacing, mostly because I'm feeling lazy, but also because this fabric is so thick that I'm hoping I can get away with being lazy. Yeah, so the next step now is to attach this collar onto the bodice piece. Okay, so I've got the collar attached to the bodice, and the front and back of the bodice aren't together yet. So the collar does sort of naturally go on the inside. It's still sticking out a little bit, so that's probably going to be covered up by the liner, that part. So if the dress turns out, I'm gonna have to not be lazy. I'm gonna have to actually make a liner for this dress, but again, I'm only gonna do that if it's gonna fit and turn out. Otherwise, I probably just won't finish the dress. But again, I think I did sew it right. It was supposed to go that way, even though it does seem a little strange. Okay, so I'm on to step 9, and I'm very confused by this. So I'm sure that I'm doing the right thing. I just don't understand why. So it has you pin the collar right side of fabric with the right side out, because that's what this is saying to do. But won't that be strange? Like, this is the right side of the dress, so I don't understand here, because like, unless the shape of it will automatically tuck this in, like, won't that hem be out? I'm gonna do it, but I think it's weird. I'm hoping this turns out. I was making fun of my sewing machine for saying heavy duty. Like, anytime I tried to sew through a couple layers, my needles would snap. It just didn't work very well. And it just plowed through all these layers. So maybe I just don't know how to use the machine that well, because this is so thick. even just one layer of this fabric is really thick, but I accidentally sewed it with the foot up and it just plowed right through here, and I'm pretty impressed with it. So I will no longer make fun of my machine as being a liar. Okay, so now it's time to sew the front and the back of the bodice together. Okay, so we're moving to the skirt now, and the first step is to do the darts. So there's a few pieces of the skirt pattern. I've got the first piece here. I don't know if you can see my chalk lines, they're very faint, but I have the dart marks lined out on the first piece, and I'm about to pin and sew them. Okay, so now I'm on step 13 where we're attaching the front and back skirt pieces together. I have it all pinned together. I'm just gonna sew it and then that part will be done. I forgot to mention I'm doing the biggest step right now. I'm attaching the skirt and the top together and just sewing that. Okay, so I've sewed the lining the exact same way I've sewed the dress, except I've left the collar off. The next step is you're supposed to put the zipper in first before you start putting the liner in. I might not be following those instructions. I don't know. I'll have to see what I'm gonna do first here. Okay, so I've decided to follow the pattern instructions. I'm going to put in the zipper before the lining. So I have the zipper all pinned in. It was supposed to be an 18-inch zipper, but I didn't have that size. I had like a 23-inch zipper, so I'm just putting a longer one in. Okay, so I have the zipper foot attached. I took off the regular foot, which is this one. And we've got the zipper foot on. The zipper is unzipped and pinned down, and I am just going to sew it on. Okay, so I have the lining pinned right sides together. I'm about to start sewing it to the neckline. I will be very impressed if my sewing machine can get through all these layers. It's quite thick. I think this is what you're supposed to do. I was a little confused by it, but we'll see if that works. Okay, so the instructions are asking me to understitch the lining. So the lining is in around the neckline, and I am going to do that with the zipper foot. Okay, so the zipper foot is in, and I am just gonna like sew all around the lining. I believe this step is to make sure your lining doesn't pop up over the dress so you can see it. Okay, so the pattern recommended finishing the armhole in like a trim, and because I had this blue, I used it. It's not really a good color for it, and I put it on terribly. So I'm gonna have to hand sew this. I was actually at Fabricland and I bought this, which will go much better with the pattern, with the fabric I have. And I'm gonna have to hand sew that on. Okay, right now I am currently sewing the liner to the zipper. And unfortunately, I have to hand sew it, so it is going to take forever. Okay, so I'm at the last part, and I really don't understand what the pattern wants me to do. I think it only wanted me to flip this hem up one time, but I flipped it up twice, and I'm really hoping I don't pay for that by the lining hanging down too far when I'm wearing the dress, like the lining will show. If it does, I can always just flip it up and hem it again, so I don't, like no one will see it if that's what happens. Hopefully not, because again, I really don't understand what the pattern's telling me. So I'm sewing these two wrong sides, well the right sides are together right now, so it'll flip out into the right side and go like this, and then I'm gonna hand sew this hem. Okay, so I have that skirt kick pleat part done, And now I'm doing the understitching of the liner, so I'm just doing it a little way up, just to the top of that split in the skirt, and I'm using my zipper foot. Okay, so I have that seam completed where the liner and the skirt make the opening at the back of the dress. Now I'm going to hand sew this hem down and finish the seam here because it's going to fray really bad. So I'm going to sew that up to finish that seam and then hand sew this hem down. It's probably going to take several hours. Okay, so the dress is finally finished. I think that hand seaming at the hem turned out really well. And can I get a round of applause for the seam matching? I think I did a great job there. I am noticing that I'm pretty sure that this top part of the liner around the neckline is going to be showing. I think it's going to be showing when I wear it quite obviously, but we'll see when I try it on. Same with this liner here at the back. I don't remember what they call it, like a kick pleat or something, but I think that's going to show through as well. The one thing I did do a pretty cruddy job on was these armholes. They're really wrinkly and they just stand out really strongly. But overall, I think it's a really cute dress. So I'm gonna try it on, hopefully it fits, and we'll see how it went. It actually turned out pretty nice. It does fit pretty good. It is a little snug around the rib cage, so I wouldn't want to wear it where I'd have to wear it for a really long time. I did notice too, the liner does show a little bit through down here. I could probably stitch that in a way that would hide it, but I do think it looks really cute. Another thing, you can see the liner popping out here. Maybe some kind of stitching could help if I held it down this way. But it looks really cute. It's like a really cute vintage dress. Okay, so that was Vogue pattern 8630. Would I say it was very easy? No. It was up until doing that bottom hem. I didn't feel like the pattern was clear at all, and being fairly new to sewing, I just didn't understand what they were trying to tell me. But it did turn out pretty good anyway. The one thing I did really like about this pattern is that it came with different cup sizes. It went A, B, C, and D. I know that's not fully inclusive, but it is nice to have done that because I did find it helped me fit a lot better for this dress. And would I make it again? Yeah, I would make it again. I thought it was really cute. But I think next time if I did, instead of having like the liner separate from the bottom, I think I just wrapped the liner into the hem and just do it that way. But overall, I did like the pattern. Again, I am gonna make it again, and I thought it turned out really cute. I thought it was a really cute little vintage dress.